I shakily raised my head to see a figure with a hoodie, wearing what seemed like steampunk goggles and a mouthguard. It had brown hair poking out from under the hood. I couldn't see any of its features to tell its gender. All that I could see was dried blood on its shirt. It was definitely dry, which meant it wasn't Sue's. The figure walked over to Sue's body and yanked the hatchet out of her spine, causing a cringing sound of ripping flesh to pierce my eardrums. What a annoying girl. It stammered and flinched. It appeared that the murderer had a stutter and suffered with tics. It wiped the blood onto its shirt to clean it. Somehow, I felt that it hadn't seen me and Larissa, so I slowly started to back away, pulling her with me. However, as I stepped back, I stand on a twig which irritatingly snaps loudly, causing the figure to turn and look at me. Oh, fuck. It stands there for a while as it stares at me creepily. It tilts its head to the side. She's still standing there like an idiot, holding her friend's unconscious body? What a joke. A voice rings through my skull, causing me to realize what I was doing. I looked down to see as I was still crouched, holding on to Larissa. In a panic, I drop her and take a few steps back. But then I realized that I had done so. I'd rushed back to her and lift her torso once again. What an idiot, trying to save her friend instead of herself. I grind my teeth to the voice and annoyingly replied to it. However, I accidentally replied out loud, "I'm not an idiot." Realizing what I'd done, I dropped Larissa and covered my mouth with my hands, looking over to the figure to see its entire body facing me. It begins to walk towards me, so I back away quickly. "Don't move," it demands angrily, causing me to freeze like a coward, slamming my eyes shut as I wait for my end. But nothing happened. I slowly peel open my eyes to see the killer standing directly in front of me. I scream, but its hand, which seemed to glove, covered my mouth. Shh! Tears begin to fill my eyes as I worry that this might be my last day on Earth. But instead, I was left confused by what it asked me. "What did you just say?" "I asked you a question. Answer." The murderer yells at my face behind its mouthguard. I shriek, but it just muffles behind its glove hand. It pushes me harder on my mouth as it leans closer. "Right. I'll remove my hand. If you scream, I'll kill you." I nod quickly to its words. I didn't want to die. I still had a life to live. I begin to breathe heavy as the hand is removed from my face. Gulping, I prepare to speak. "You called me an idiot. I just said that I wasn't, but I didn't mean to actually say it. It was an accident." The killer remained silent, but his head seemed to tilt a little to the side and backed slightly, as if to be a bit shocked. I didn't say that out loud. I was confused, raising an eyebrow as I stared at the figure, trying to understand what it was trying to tell me. "You read my mind?" My eyes slammed open as my mind instantly takes me back to the scene in my house, where I thought I heard Sue talk bad about me. It all made sense. I can read minds? "Toby, come on!" A voice called within the trees. It sounded deep and raspy. The killer in front of me turned and ran in the direction of the voice, not bothering to look back. So the killer was a male. As I stand in shock over what just happened, I hear a groaning sound by my feet. Larissa was coming back to now. I looked down at her as her eyes looked at me tiredly. "Yeah, now you wake up," I scoff as I help her to her feet. She was shaky. My guess was that she remembers why she fainted. "We're still alive?" She stutters, still a little scared. "For now, let's go back to my place and quick." Taking Toby's point of view, I managed to catch up with Masky. After calling me back to me, he had started to leave without me, so I had to run after him. "What took you so long?" he nags as we continue to run deeper in the woods, within the mist and the fog that most people would get lost and eventually meet their end. "Shut up, Masky. I made my kill," I argue angrily. He always rushes me and says I take too long, and it's very irritating. He always so quick with his kills and expects me to be like that too. He's very impatient. "Yeah? How many?" I pause for a moment of silence, but continue running. Shit. "Let me guess. Only one. If Slender asks," I made my quota. Masky scoffs, but he didn't have time to reply as the mansion came into view, and we had reached the door finally. I opened it and stepped inside, Masky following in behind me and closing the door. I quickly try and run from my room, but Slender appears in front of me, blocking my path, so I stopped instantly. "Toby, Masky, are your missions complete?" he asks with a static-like voice, despite having no mouth or face at all. "Well, I did, but a certain someone, which I won't mention the name of, Toby Rogers, only killed one." He chuckles, walking away, leaving me alone with a now angry Slenderman. "Masky, you asshole!" "That's enough," Slender orders angrily, causing my body to freeze and tense up as the tall man stares down at me menacingly. "Only one kill? You've got to understand. I was distracted by what? A girl." I cower my head away after telling him, afraid he might strike me down again or punish me. "A girl?" he growls, leaning down to his face directly in front of me, his tendrils flailing behind us sharply. "Not like that. She can read minds. I was just interested." There was a pause as he slowly leans back to his original stance, but still staring down at me from his tall nature. "Don't let this happen again." I won't. "Tomorrow, there are no missions for you, so I suggest you use your time to practice your technique." With that, he teleports away, leaving me alone in the hallway. I rush to my room and lock the door, heading over to my mirror to stare at my reflection as I remove my goggles and my mouthguard, revealing my dark eyes and scarred cheek. How is it possible for her to read my mind? She looked human to me. I pull down my hood, my scruffy brown hair swishing as it brushes out the fabric, being released to the hair and no longer being hidden. A skill like that would be useful to have around, but if she saw me again, she would head for the hills. I pick up my gear and head over to my wardrobe to stash it away, but I freeze as I soon place them down. Unless I don't wear them. She doesn't know my face. She wouldn't know it was me. Fuck. She heard Masky call my name, though. I pace around my room trying to think of what I should do, and if I should even go to her again in the first place. I head over to Keigo's room, and he's the only one who won't tell on me to Slender. Well, him and Eyeless Jack. But Jack isn't back yet. I knock on his door as it opens, allowing me to walk inside. "Hey, Keiichiko." "Toby?" His original language is Japanese, so because his language barrier, he tends to say only a few words. To his kills, however, he talks in full-blown Japanese. "Suggest me a male name?" "Tomo." "That's a Japanese name, isn't it?" "Yes." I sigh and walk out of his room, back to mine in front of the mirror. Tomo. Do I look like a Tomo enough to be believable? Reader's point of view. It was the next morning, and Larissa and I stayed over my house. For the night was neither of us wanted to go home alone, knowing there was a murderer out there. Larissa was in pretty bad shape. She was still shaking from last night. During Sue's death, most of the blood splatter went on Larissa, especially her face. During her shower, I could hear her scrubbing her face even through the wooden door. It sounded as if she was trying to scrub her skin off with sandpaper. She sat on my sofa with a blanket, watching the TV as we waited for the newspaper to arrive. The murder wasn't on the TV news yet, so we had a feeling it would be at least in the newspaper, but it seemed to take longer than usual to come. Finally, there was a knock at the door. Although it wasn't my usual paperboy knock, so I was a little worried, but I still opened the door. I breathed a breath of relief to see it was a paperboy, just not my usual guy. This one had brown hair with beautiful brown eyes, although he had a small scar on his cheek near the corner of his mouth. Here's your paper, miss." He spoke oddly, as if he were straining or holding something in. It sounded painful. I reach out my hand and take a paper. "Thank you," I say with a calm smile. He nods and smiles in return. "You're most welcome." I freeze when I see a familiar trait. My eyes widen slightly, but I try not to make it obvious. "Something the matter, miss?" he asks, seemingly strained again. I remember the killer had a tic, but he also stuttered. Ugh, what am I thinking? He must think of me so rude. There are more people on this earth who suffer with tics and stutters. Don't be so quick to judge, Mal. I apologize. I speak softly in the hope he would forgive me for acting strange after his moment of having a tic. That's quite all right, miss, he replies with a forgiving smile. I sigh and give one last smile before closing the door and heading over to Larissa so we could read through the paper. Take Toby's point of view. I smile as she closes the door, but I don't hear the sound of it being locked. Ugh, I'm such a fucking idiot. I couldn't hold back my tics. At least I managed to keep my stutter under control, but that just made me sound like a fool who was straining like he was holding in his shit. Next time, I won't hold them back. I'll probably look more sane. Angry with myself, I storm around the corner where I had left her original paperboy. He was in an alley, tied to a drain with rope, and his mouth was gagged shut. The alley was quite run down, so there were lots of alcohol bottles and broken pieces of glass. I could have just killed him then. But I wanted a chase. I grabbed a shard of broken glass and sliced the ropes. He instantly stands and makes a run for it. I grab an unbroken bottle and chase him out of the alley, but I eventually grow bored and throw the bottle at him. It smashes against his head and he falls to the floor with a thud. Not thinking twice, I stand over him, grabbing his hair, lifting his head and slicing his throat with the glass shard. Reader's point of view. So, what does the paper say? Larissa turns to look at me away from the paper. She sighs and shakes her head. Nothing on the first 3 pages, but I'll keep looking. Her voice was low and saddening. Even though Sue was a complete asshole, Larissa still thought of her as a friend. I pat her shoulder and stand to my feet, heading for the kitchen to make a snack for both of us. What to make? I paced around my kitchen, thinking of what food to make Larissa and I, until I heard it. I kind of hope she has some veg soup. I've been craving it for a while. I grin and head to my cupboard, thinking about it 10. Larissa doesn't know I can read minds, as she was out cold when my trait was discovered. I'll keep it a secret for now. I finish heating the soup into bowls and head back to the sofa. Handing her a warm bowl, she gasps a little and smiles, looking over to me. Just what I wanted. How did you know? She chuckles, bringing a spoonful to her mouth and savoring the flavor at its warmth. I had a hunch. We both chuckle together and continue to eat our soup as we flick through the newspaper. Ah, here, Larissa said, putting down her spoon and pointing to the paper. By her finger was a sad picture of Sue's dead body, a huge gash in her back. That was pretty deep. You could see the bone belonging to her spine, and there was a lot of blood that had poured out. Nasty way to go. I tried my best to mourn for her, being as she was a friend of Larissa's, but she definitely was not a friend of mine. Although the death of anyone should be mourned,